Welcome to Lento English. Ready to level up your English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
1. Introduction. A very important new law is now in the United States. This law is very big and affects many things. President Donald Trump is the President of the United States right now. This is his second time serving as president. President Trump gave this new law a special name. He called it the One Big Beautiful Bill. This name showed how much he liked the law and thought it was good for the country. This book will tell the story of this important law. We want to understand why the government decided to make this law. What were the main ideas behind it? We will also look at what this law might do in the future. A law this big can cause many changes for many people in the country. It can change how much money families have. It can change how businesses work. It can change how the government helps people. These changes can affect people in every state from the East Coast to the West Coast. Many people have different ideas about this law. It is a subject that people talk about a lot. Some people think the law is very good and will help the country grow stronger. They believe it will make life better for many people. Other people think the law is not good. They worry that it will cause problems for some people and the country. This book will show you these different ideas that people have. It will help you understand why people feel differently about the law. We will look at the reasons people give for supporting it and the reasons people give for not supporting it. This book will try to be fair and show all sides. It will not tell you if the law is right or wrong. It will help you understand the different views about this major change in the United States. This law is a big step for the United States government. It makes important changes to rules about money, like how people and companies pay taxes. It also makes changes to programs that help people with things like health care and food. Because of these changes, the lives of many millions of people across the nation could be different. This law is a big event in the country's recent history. In the chapters that follow, we will learn more details about this law. We will see how it was made step by step. We will look closely at the changes to taxes and the changes to help programs. We will read about the debates and discussions that happened before the law was finished. We will read about the votes that made it official. And we will think about what might happen next as this law starts to affect the country. This first chapter is just the beginning. It introduces you to the main topic of this book, a very important big law in the United States. It is called One Big Beautiful Bill. President Donald Trump, who is in his second term, supported this law very much. This book is a way to understand this law, to see why it was made, what it does, and how different people think about it. It is a story about a big change for the United States and its people. Let's start our journey to learn about this important law and its story. 2. Making the bill. The idea for the One Big Beautiful Bill came from President Donald Trump and his political party. They had important goals they wanted to reach. For many years, people in this party wanted to change how the country collected taxes and how the government spent money on help programs. So, making this bill was a big part of their plan. The main ideas were clear. They wanted to make taxes lower for people and businesses. They also wanted to change the rules for programs that help people with things like health care or food. They believed these changes would be good for the country. President Trump was very focused on getting this new law ready. He gave Congress a special date to finish the work. This target date was the 4th of July. This is an important holiday in the United States. Creating such a large bill was a lot of work. It involved many discussions and decisions about different parts of the country's money system. It was seen as a major effort to set new financial rules. The bill was a very important project for the president and his party. They worked hard to make their ideas into a new law. Their aim was to make big changes to taxes and how the government helps people. This was the start of the One Big Beautiful Bill's journey to become law. 3. Tax changes. This part of the story is about the changes to taxes in the country. The new law made some taxes lower. It said that some tax reductions that were in place before would continue. They would not stop being lower. This was a big change for many people and businesses. The law also brought new ways for people who work to pay less tax. It aimed to help working people keep more of the money they earn. There were specific changes for certain types of pay. For example, the law said that money earned from tips could be taxed less. Also, extra money earned for working more hours, called overtime pay, could also see lower taxes. However, not all these tax changes are set to last forever. Some of these specific tax reductions, like those on tips and overtime pay, have an end date. They are planned to last only for a few years. The law states that these particular tax changes will end in the year 2028. After that year, the taxes on these types of income might go back up. Many people looked closely at who would get the most help from these new tax rules. Studies were done to understand the effects. These studies suggested that the people who would benefit the most from these tax reductions were those who earn the highest incomes. They found that a large part of the tax help went to people in the highest earning groups. In fact, some reports said that only a small percentage of people, about 2% of those who pay taxes, would receive most of the benefit from these changes. This means the biggest part of the tax help went to a small group of people with the most money. This was a key point that people discussed when talking about the new law and its effect on taxes across the country. The changes were different for different people depending on how much money they made. 4. Help for people changes. The new law made big changes to how the government gives help to people. It changed some important programs that provide support for healthcare and food. Two main programs that were changed are called Medicaid and SNAP. Medicaid is a program that helps people who do not have a lot of money get health care when they are sick or need a doctor. SNAP is a program that helps people buy food for their families so they have enough to eat every day. The new law brought new rules for these programs. One big change is about working. The new law says that people who get help from these programs must work. There are now stricter rules about how many hours people must work each week or month to keep getting help. Some people who supported these changes said they wanted to make the programs work better and reduce waste, making them more efficient. The idea was also to make these programs harder for some people to access. Groups that study the law looked closely at these changes to see what might happen to people who need help. One independent group, called the Congressional Budget Office, studied the changes to Medicaid. They said that because of the new rules, many people might lose their healthcare help. They estimated this could be almost 12 million people across the country. Another group looked at the changes to the SNAP program, which helps with food. They said that about 8 million people might lose their food help. This number is like 1 in 5 people who get help from SNAP right now. These changes can also affect states across the country in new ways. For example, states will need to pay some of the cost for the SNAP program for the first time ever. This is a new cost for state governments and could mean states have to find more money. The changes to government help programs might also affect places where people live and work, not just the people getting help. Some shops, like grocery stores, might have less business because fewer people have SNAP money to spend there. Hospitals in smaller towns or rural areas, especially those that help many people with low incomes, might also have problems because of the changes to Medicaid and fewer people having health insurance. Experts said the benefit cuts could mean less money in local economies each year. Experts think these changes to government help programs will have important effects in many places across the country. It changes the kind of help available for a lot of people. These effects will be felt by many different communities and parts of the economy. The goal was to change how help is given and who can get it. 5. Why people said yes. Many people supported the new law called the One Big Beautiful Bill. They had strong reasons for saying yes to this big change. For many years, some people, especially those in President Trump's party, wanted lower taxes for everyone. They also wanted government programs that help people to work differently. They believed that these two things together would make the country better and stronger. Supporters of the bill said that the changes to government help programs were good. They believed the new rules would stop waste and make these programs work better. They said it would help people who really needed the help and make sure the money was used well. They thought this would make the government more effective. Another main reason people supported the bill was because of the tax changes. They strongly believed that cutting taxes would help the economy grow. When people and businesses pay less tax, they have more money. Supporters thought this extra money would be spent or invested, which would create new jobs and make the country's economy like a powerful engine. President Trump himself spoke very strongly about the bill. He said it would make the country like a rocket ship. This meant he believed the economy would grow very, very fast because of the new law. Supporters also warned about what might happen if the bill did not pass. They said that some tax cuts that were made a few years ago were planned to end soon. If these tax cuts ended, many people and businesses would have to pay more tax. Supporters argued that this would hurt the economy and stop it from growing. Passing the new bill would make these tax cuts continue and even add new ones, which they saw as very important for the country's future. For these reasons, making government programs more efficient, helping the economy grow with lower taxes, and preventing old tax cuts from ending, many people and lawmakers decided to support the One Big Beautiful Bill and vote yes. 6. Why people said no. Many people did not agree with the new bill. They had serious worries about what the law would mean for the country and its people. One big concern was about the government's money. People who did not support the bill said it would make the government owe a lot more money. They said this could be $3.3 trillion more over the next 10 years. This very large amount of debt was a major reason for their opposition. They worried this debt could hurt the country's future. Another important worry was about help programs for people. Critics were afraid that the changes to these programs would cause millions of people to lose important help. The bill made new, stricter rules for programs like healthcare help and food help, sometimes requiring people to work. Groups who looked at the numbers said that almost 12 million people could lose their healthcare help, and about 8 million people might lose their help with buying food. This meant that around 1 out of every 5 people receiving food help might lose it. People felt these cuts would hurt many families and communities. Experts said the negative effects would spread across the country. There were also fears about how the bill would affect local areas. With fewer people getting help to buy food, local food stores might have less business. Also, hospitals in smaller towns might have big problems because of the cuts to healthcare help. Some people estimated that local money situations could lose around $120 billion each year because people had less help. This could make jobs in local areas less safe because there was less money moving around. Many people also looked at who would benefit most from the bill's tax changes. They believed that the main benefits would go to people who were already very rich. Reports suggested that only a very small percentage of taxpayers, less than 2%, would get most of the tax help. But a much larger percentage of the country, about 34%, could be negatively affected, mainly by losing help with food and health care. Finally, some critics were worried about the long-term effect on the country's economy. They said that maybe the bill would make the economy feel good for a short time, like a sugar high. But they warned that this would not last. They thought that after this short boost, the economy could have problems, or a crash, because of the large amount of money the government would owe. A leader from one political party spoke for a very long time to show his strong feelings against the bill. He said the bill would hurt people who were poor. These were the main reasons why many people said no to the bill. They saw risks for the government's money, for people needing help, for local businesses, and for the future of the economy. 7. The final vote. The time came for Congress to vote on the One Big Beautiful Bill. This was the last step before it could become a law. First, the bill went to the Senate for a vote. Many people in the Senate talked about the bill for a long time. When they finally voted, the result was very close. The bill passed in the Senate by just one vote. This happened on a Tuesday. After the Senate, the bill went to the House of Representatives. The people in the House also talked about the bill for many hours. The vote in the House was also very close. 218 people voted yes, and 214 people voted no. So the bill passed in the House too. This final vote was on a Thursday afternoon. Before the vote in the House, there was a long delay. A leader from the other party, Hakeem Jeffries, gave a very, very long speech. People said it was the longest speech ever given in that room in Congress. He spoke for 8 hours and 45 minutes. He said he was speaking for the American people. He talked about how the bill might hurt people who did not have much money. When the votes were counted in the House and the bill had passed, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, spoke. He said that having belief was very important for them to pass the bill. Some people in his party had not agreed with the bill just a few days before. One person, Chip Roy, had said he would vote no, but in the end he voted yes. Most people voted with their party, but a few people from the president's party voted no. Only 2 people voted against their own party in the House vote. After the vote was finished, many people who had voted yes were very happy. They stood together in the room where they voted. They shouted, "USA, USA," many times. The bill had finished its journey through Congress. Now it could go to the president to be signed into law. 8. What happens next? The big new law has now passed. It is a reality for the country. People who supported the law believe it will help the economy grow strong. They think that lower taxes will give people and businesses more money to spend and invest. The president said the country would be like a rocket ship, going up fast. However, people who did not support the law have different ideas about the future. They worry about the government needing to borrow much more money. They think this debt could cause problems later on. Some critics say that any good effect on the economy might only last a short time, like a sugar high, and then stop. The law changes how some government help programs work. Supporters believe these changes will make the programs better and stop people from using them when they do not need help. But critics worry that millions of people may lose important help with health care and food. They say this could make life hard for many families. These changes might also affect places like local stores and hospitals. If fewer people have money from help programs, they might buy less food. This could mean less business for grocery stores. Hospitals that help people with low incomes might also find it harder to work if their patients lose health care help. The tax changes from the law are set to end in a few years, in the year 2028. This means there might be more discussions about taxes again in the future. The effects of the law will be felt by many people across the country, not just those who use the help programs or pay high taxes. The country will now see what living under this new system is like. The full results of the law will become clearer over time. The debates about how the government spends money and helps people will continue. This big law is a major change, and its story will keep unfolding as the years pass.